he's over. This is done. He cannot survive this. I think being asked in this town is when is he going to go. I think you're going to see in early January he's going to come out and resign. And then
the Justin Trudeau brand is damaged, likely irrevocably damaged.
Is there a path to victory for the Liberals?
Well, Pierre Poilievre slipping on a banana peel. And
we need to stand united in the face of a growing incoming American presidency.
I understand there's going to be a short runway. I'm not blind to that. But if I can make a small difference, if I can make a big difference, I want to make the biggest difference that I can. That's why I joined politics in the first place.
Well, look, the cabinet shuffle was completely irrelevant. It's a caretaker cabinet. We all know that, including the ministers who got the new jobs, because there's only one question being asked in this town is when is he going to go? Everybody's had a different conversation. Some people have walked away thinking he's going to go. He understands, he's shell-shocked. He understands that he blew it the way he handled the Freeland affair. Others are saying, well, he's indicated to me that he's going to stay and fight. But look, he's over. This is done. He cannot survive this. I think you're going to see in early January he's going to come out and resign, and then they have to figure out how do you get a leadership convention in a minority parliament when the three opposition parties are saying we're going to take you down when the House of Commons comes back?
And they intend, they haven't defined at what point, but they intend to bring their own motion of non-confidence. They've said it now unequivocally. We no longer will keep the government in power. We will no longer keep propping up the government. How much does that change the dynamic of whatever the Prime Minister ultimately decides?
well, I think it changes it significantly because, let's face it, all the opposition parties not only won an election, they won an election against Justin Trudeau, right? And, the thing is, and I think this is especially true for Jagmeet Singh, like, he'll probably have a better election if Justin Trudeau happened to be the leader of the Liberal Party than allowing the Liberals to put someone new, which might kind of breathe some type of kind of fresh piece of, kind of breathe some life into them. Not saying it's going to change it. So,
that's at the beginning of January, it's time to go. What we thought could be, another 8 months to the next election, providing for some more runway for a leadership contest, no longer, it's just evaporated in the space of a moment when the NDP said that.
Absolutely. Everything changed when he put that letter out today. So all the smart people behind the scenes were telling me how this could potentially work out. So if there is no prorogation, what would happen? The House returns on the 27th. They basically have a month before opposition days come into place. There's all this machinations behind how that technically happens, but it's around February 27th where we'd likely see the first opposition day because it has to happen. But if the government wants to control, and you would not want to put when an election is being held with the opposition, you want to control that. So you are likely going to prorogue. That would be my thought. There's only one way out of this at this point. Prorogation, and then you go to an election on that, because that would be laying out what your agenda would be.
Makes a difference who the leader is at this point for the Liberals, Bob? And I have the same question for you, Nick.
Probably not, but it could mean that they lose fewer seats.
Right.
Yeah.
Because Mr. Trudeau is, the whole country just wants to see the end of them. So they can, under the Constitution, they can appoint, the caucus can appoint an interim leader, and then they can have a quick convention to affirm that leader. But we saw that happen with Kamala Harris, and it didn't work out. But if the three opposition parties say, you should not prorogue to save Justin Trudeau's life.
Like that,
where do we go from there? I don't know.
It would be pretty unprecedented for the Governor General to go against the ask of the Prime Minister, but Bob raises an interesting point that if all of the parties are amping up their pressure on her to do so, with the question of confidence in the balance, that becomes a little bit of a tricky question.
The Justin Trudeau brand is damaged, likely irrevocably damaged. If the Liberals try to engineer all this stuff, they have to worry about the Liberal brand being damaged, that the party is just looking to kind of engineer and stay in power, that they're putting the interests of the party ahead of the interests of the country at the time when we're dealing with Donald Trump. So, they might try to outsmart everyone from a parliamentary and procedural perspective, only to spite themselves, because, you know, Trudeau will be damaged, and then the Liberal Party brand will be even more damaged, because people will just be, they're already fed up. They're going to go, well, they're just holding on to power.
Let's say Trudeau quits. Is there a path to victory for the Liberals?
Well, Pierre Poilievre slipping on a banana peel, and I don't know. It's
All
pretty
right.
tough.
That
It's
sums
pretty
it
tough.
up, Hannah. Go
Krista
ahead.
Freeland made it pretty clear in her letter that the Liberal Party and the surrounding of the government is pretty much, the brand is done, by saying, look, you are using political gimmicks. That was, to me, the line that really stood out in the letter. The Prime Minister coming out and speak. He has to say something. He has to say something decisively so that things become clear. 5 days as of Friday, he had not said a word about this. That leaves a void when it comes to the international, everybody internationally looking at this, and they are looking at it. Also, Canadians who are saying, what the heck is going on? And then finally, what about the markets as well? We've only seen him up until Friday at 2 Christmas parties giving thank you speeches,
Right.
trying to look like everything is fine. It's not fine.